Welcome back to another episode of Visionary IT, the podcast where we explore how tech can transform your business. Today, we're diving into digital transformation and data storage solutions available for small and medium-sized businesses.
Yeah, and let me tell you, this topic couldn't be more relevant right now. Digital transformation is on fire, and SMBs are carving out their own space in this massive growth story. Trust me, if you own or manage a small business, you're going to want to stick around for this.
You will, because we're digging into on-premise systems, hosted services, and full cloud-based solutions. These days, companies face a ton of options and risks when it comes to IT infrastructure. So it's important that leadership teams make informed decisions.
And there's no one size fits all answer here, folks. What works for a financial firm might not make sense for a nonprofit, and that's what we're going to unpack together throughout this episode. But first, let's start by looking at why this digital transformation market is exploding right now.
You're absolutely right, Reid. The digital transformation market is in hyper-growth mode right now. Projections are skyrocketing from just over $1 trillion, 1,009.8 billion to be exact, to $1,235 billion by 2032. That's an 18% CAGR. Pretty incredible, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, those numbers are mind blowing, but honestly, it's no surprise businesses big and small are finally realizing they've got to adapt or risk falling behind, especially SMBs, right? Their agility makes them so good at pivoting and taking advantage of this sort of tech evolution.
Absolutely. And they're not just jumping on a trend. Because digital tools are more accessible, SMBs have the chance to really level the playing field against larger competitors, which historically hasn't been very easy.
Right? It really hits home for me, actually. I remember my first experience tinkering with a computer as a kid. That curiosity stayed with me. And now, helping SMBs navigate all these complex changes in the digital landscape, yeah, it's kind of my passion project at this point.
It's funny how those early experiences shape your perspective. Your passion really resonates with what this market needs. Seasoned experts that can help SMBs through their challenges while still embracing innovation.
Thanks, Gar. And you know what? This growth we're seeing, it's a wake-up call. Smaller businesses can't just wait and see anymore. They need to act. So let's dive into a key part of those decisions, hosting options. When we talk about on-premise, cloud, and hosted services, these are really the three major camps businesses fall into. But what exactly sets them apart?
Good question. On premise is pretty much the traditional model. You own the licenses and everything hardware, software, data it's all managed in house. In fact, for years, this was the go to approach because there weren't many alternatives.
Yeah, but man, it can get pricey. I mean, all that upfront capital, hiring IT staff to manage everything, it's a heavy lift for SMBs.
Exactly. But there are advantages. Control is a big one. Take, say, financial institutions, they need a tight grip on their data for compliance and security. Of course, the flip side is the cost and maintenance burden.
Which brings us to cloud services. This is like the modern evolution, right? Instead of owning the servers, you're just subscribing to a service, Microsoft Azure or AWS, for instance. You pay for what you use, and the service provider takes care of the heavy lifting, like security and scalability.
True, cloud services shine with their flexibility and lower entry costs. But Reed, let's not forget compliance. For some industries, lack of control over those servers can be a stumbling block.
Totally. And then there's hosted services, kind of like the cloud's cousin, stuff like solutions like Microsoft OneDrive and Salesforce. These are turnkey. You sign up and boom, you're operational. Perfect for SMBs who don't want to deal with all that backend complexity.
Definitely convenient. But here's the kicker: not every hosted service offers the same level of data control. It's really important to read the fine print, especially when dealing with sensitive info.
Right? Because vendor lock in is a real thing. Once you're locked into one service, it's tough and potentially expensive to switch.
And that's why SMBs really need to evaluate their needs carefully, whether it's cost, compliance, or control. Every hosting option comes with trade offs.
Yeah, and understanding those trade offs is key to making the right choice. So, with all those trade offs in mind, How do small businesses actually go about choosing the right hosting solution? Is there a straightforward approach, or does it really come down to carefully weighing the pros and cons?
It's definitely about weighing the options, but there are, let's say, foundational factors that every SMB should consider, things like cost, scalability, compliance requirements, and the state of their existing infrastructure. It's all about aligning those factors with your business strategy.
And not just that, right? It's how those factors fit into the bigger picture. Like, say you're a nonprofit, you might prioritize simplicity and lower costs over, owning an on-premise server room.
Exactly. Or think about a financial services firm that deals with sensitive data. They might lean towards on premise with all the control it offers, despite the costs and maintenance.
And then you've got use cases where cloud is a no-brainer. Like seasonal businesses, you pay only for what you use, you scale up or down depending on demand, and it's all pretty seamless.
That's a great point, Reid. And actually, I think about one particular client we worked with, a construction company. They came to us struggling with on premise servers that couldn't handle the increasing volume of project data, CAD files, and such.
Yeah, I remember that one. Their on-prem servers kept struggling with the increasing project load, especially as they took on more job sites.
Right? We helped them transition to a scalable cloud platform that could handle their growing project demands while maintaining compliance with data protection regulations. That tailored approach gave them the flexibility they needed while ensuring they stayed secure. That move saved them hours of downtime and plenty of lost revenue.
That's the thing. Um, I love those kinds of wins, taking a complex challenge and turning it into this simple, effective solution that works for businesses.
And that's really at the heart of it. There's no one size fits all answer. So every business has to ask the hard questions. What's your current pain point? How much control do you need? Do you have the support you need? And crucially, what's your budget?
And if you're feeling stuck, you shouldn't hesitate to work with experts so you don't have to go through the maze alone. Tailored advice can be a game changer.
Absolutely. At the end of the day, it's about making decisions that fit your current needs and your long term goals. Do you have any final thoughts for our listeners, Reid?
Just this, SMBs have every opportunity to level the playing field with the right technology. So get strategic, stay adaptable, and don't be afraid to embrace a little change. It can pay off big time.
Well said, Reid. And on that note, thanks for joining us today. Stay visionary, stay secure, and we'll catch you next time.